today with the recipes. They're focused on hydration, but they're also focused on this time of year, quick and easy, because nobody wants to heat up their kitchen. So we're going to start with the soup first. It's called Life-Saving Lentil Soup. And if you go out on Pinterest or all these other sites and you see these soups that are just easy, what they are is condensed soup, which is super high in sodium. Yeah. And it's disgusting. If you look at all the emulsifiers, everything that's in them, there's nothing real. So everything in this is real, it's easy, and you can kind of change it up. So it's pretty simple. We're going to start with carrots, and you're just going to go ahead and get the shredded carrots. If you already have some carrots at home and you have a food processor that you can shred, that's fine. But I just get these, and they're like $1.25 a bag. So we're going to start with the slow cooker. You don't need to spray this one with pan spray, but for a lot of proteins, I do go ahead and spray it. But with the slow cooker, just remember there's some rules to it. A lot of people will tell you, load it up the night before, stick the insert in your refrigerator, and then in the morning, all you have to do is put it in here and plug it in. You do not want to do that. No. These inserts should not be cold. So it's fine to do that, to get yourself all prepped and eased the night before, but I would put them in a separate container or a separate bowl. Have this on your countertop ready to go, and then just grab your cold stuff and put it in. And the reason is these are designed to heat up slowly, and you don't want food kind of in that danger zone. And if this is cold or you're using frozen meats in here, what happens is food stays in that temperature danger zone too long. So you can end up making everybody sick. So by all your faces, you're guilty. Is that what you do?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, sometimes.
Well, you didn't kill anybody.
No, he's still alive. Yeah.
And then the other thing too, so while I'm talking, 2 cups of these carrots. The other thing too is so we don't have a protein today, but if you are going to do, let's just say if you wanted to add some pork tenderloin to this, in the refrigerator the night before, keep the pork separate. You don't want to go ahead and put it in with the vegetables. Yeah. So make sure that the crock pot is out on the countertop. The other thing too is, I know you want to peek, but crock pots typically are made with glass lids so that you can see what's going on inside. Every time you open up the lid, you lose a half an hour.
Oh.
So just don't open up the lid. And it's kind of the same thing too with your oven, like at Thanksgiving, if you're roasting a turkey, don't open up the oven because you're going to lose time. But again, it's that whole temperature danger zone. You don't want to kind of fall into that. So just let it hang out. You know, a lot of slow cooker recipes, so I said 4 hours on this one. You can go longer or you can go a little bit shorter time. You can't go too short because of the lentils won't get cooked. So we've got the 2 cups of carrots in here, and then we have 1 cup of lentils, and so I've rinsed them. The lentils are in the aisle with the rice and all the other beans. So a lentil is actually a legume. What's really cool about lentils, they're one of the most ancient legumes in the world, 11,000 BC. But what's even neat, has anybody ever seen a lentil bush? It's a bush, it's a plant, and so it has a sprig and it comes out, and there's a pod about like this. And on each pod is 2 lentils. So could you imagine doing that for a living? What do? I pick pods and then I have to open them up and there's 2 lentils. So can you think how many lentils are in here? So somebody has to do that. And you think, these are like, what, $1 a bag? They're very economical. So, but yeah, definitely wash them and kind of pick through them, because every now and then you might find a little rock or something. So too, we're going to add 1 can of petite diced tomatoes. So I have 2 different varieties here. I have a low sodium and I have a regular one. So the regular one, you're looking at 180 milligrams of sodium. The reduced sodium one, 25 milligrams of sodium. So definitely. And then I would encourage you to get the petite diced. The regular diced ones is big chunks of tomatoes. So I would go smaller too. on that. The other thing with the tomato products, we're going to do 6 ounces of tomato paste. So that's really cool. 1 can is 6 ounces. But lots of times you just need a tablespoon of tomato paste, and it drives me crazy because then I have in my freezer all these little things of tomato paste. So right next to the tomato paste in the tomato can aisle is tomato paste in a tube. So I would get you some of that, because if you just need a tiny bit, you just squeeze it and you close the lid and you put it back in your refrigerator. And they're not terribly expensive, and there's different brands, but they do sell this, and so I use this all the time. But it's nice for this recipe, you use the whole can. So we have the tomato paste in there, or actually no, so it's right here. So the tomato paste, what it's going to do, it's your thickening agent, since we don't have a roux, flour, it's going to help thicken it up. The legumes, we're not going to puree them, so it's not going to be a thick soup. This is classified as a clear base soup. Hot sauce, we're going to come in with that kind of a little bit at the end. But now what we're going to do is we're going to add our seasoning. So we've got a little different seasoning blend. So then here is sage, so 1 tablespoon of sage. If you don't like sage, don't put sage in there. I'm actually not a big sage fan. I love it for flower arrangements, not so much food. So you can either reduce it, it's not that big of a deal. I love oregano, so if you wanted to do less sage and more oregano, and that's 1 tablespoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of dried basil. So this is the dried basil. Can you see that? How dark it is? And this is fresh basil. So this came out of my garden this afternoon. So can you see the difference? Fresh herbs are for the end of the cooking process, dried herbs are for the beginning. So if you want, you could shred or chiffonade some fresh basil and put it on top of the soup after it's cooked. Do you all have any herbs growing in your garden or anything? Yeah. So from an economic standpoint, you can buy 1 plant of basil and it's $1.50, and you'll harvest it all summer long, as opposed to 1 little can of basil is like $2. So, and you don't need a big space to do it. Then a teaspoon of red pepper flakes just to give it some heat, and then another teaspoon of rosemary. We've got to add our basil in. So what you're doing is you're making your own little spice blend, and then you're going to stir it up. Then keep it in a sealed container. If you're cooking chicken, you could sprinkle this on chicken and put it on the grill. You might need to mix it with a little bit of oil so it's going to adhere. And then we're going to sprinkle in a tablespoon of that into the slow cooker. And then we're going to come in with 5 cups of water. And you're going to want to stir it so it kind of starts moving it around. Some variations to this: if you feel like you need some carbs and you want to add pasta, you can add some pasta to about the last 20 minutes. Or you can cook some rice and heat it with rice. I'll be honest with you, once this cooks, I chill it down and I eat it cold. There's a soup called the gazpacho. It's real popular in the summer, and that's what I do. I use it for that. Actually, you know what I forgot? The celery. I'm moving ahead too fast. I gotta cut stuff up. Okay, so a half cup of celery. So 2 big stalks of celery. Just wash them. This is nice. You've got leaves of the celery. Don't throw that away. That's a nice little garnish once it's cooked. And then we're going to add an onion. I'm going to move this out of the way so that you can see. So on the celery, to cut it, can you see over? Yeah. The easiest thing to do, because again we're trying to stay a little bit smaller, is just take out these ribs. Just run your knife down. Now, if you really don't want to do this, you can actually buy frozen chopped celery and frozen chopped onion. But I know you all love that. And so just remember, same thing from day one. Curve your fingers over and just move your knife back. So the celery is going to give some flavor. The celery actually is going to add liquid. It's it's going to break down. So celery contains a lot of water. Can you think of any other fruits or vegetables that contain a lot of water? Cauliflower does. Mm-hmm. Watermelon?
Watermelon, yeah.
Strawberries. So then the recipe calls for 1 cup of onion. No, it calls for 1 onion diced. So here's your dilemma. Which do I go with? They both came in the same bag. So it just says a cup. This is awful big, and this is awful little. I would chop this one down and hold back on about 1/3 of it. Traditionally, if they call for a 1 medium-sized onion, you're looking at about a cup chopped. So what we're going to do is just top and tail it. And again, we want to try to cut it a little bit smaller. We don't want to bite into a big piece of onion. And then the onion is going to add more moisture. And then it's also going to be our flavor ingredient. So do you think you all could do this? You could chicken out and just buy everything frozen.
I like doing stuff from scratch.
Yeah. I mean, this is so much healthier than these soups that you go and buy cream of chicken soup and throw it in. You just don't want to do that. It's not good. And the nice thing about this recipe is you can change it up. If it's fall and you want to finish it with some beans, you can finish it with some beans. There's lots of different things you can do. So lid on, put it on low 4 hours. If you don't have time, you can put it on high for 2 hours. Your goal is just got to cook the lagoons. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. Okay, smoothies. So we were going to start with the blackberry first. So you all can drink these while we're doing. Okay, lots of different things, especially right now. Do you all have something that you can make smoothies in? What do you have? This? Yeah, so this is great. What, do you have anything that you can do in it?
I forget what it's called, but it's a small blender.
Is it a nitro bullet or something?
Yeah. The bullet, yeah.
The bullet, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, everything's really cheap because of college kids. You can probably find this right now for $10. And this is nice because, so you put all your ingredients in, you can do this the night before, and this comes off. This is the actual blade. It's like an infomercial. And then you just put this on. Now this can be in your refrigerator. And then as you're racing out the door, you have this on your countertop and you just hit it. And then you convert to the lid. So that's cool. So this was pretty expensive. This is my immersion blender, and sometimes at home we'll make smoothies with this, but with the blackberries and blueberries, it can kind of go all over the place. So really what you have, that NutriBullet, is the best option, or actually this was just a blender here that I used. So the first one is just pretty simple. It's just blackberries and vanilla yogurt. So I just bought some low-fat vanilla yogurt and then blackberries. All of your smoothies, I have fresh blackberries and I have frozen blackberries. When you add ice to the smoothie, you're pulling out flavor. The best thing to do is just buy frozen fruit. So it's near the ice cream aisle, you can buy the frozen fruit. Unless you're somewhere, you're going blueberry picking, or blueberries or blackberries are on sale. But I would suggest buy the frozen fruit. There's a lot of research in that the frozen fruit actually, from a nutritional standpoint, it's retained because they've frozen it very close to where the farms are. So these blueberries today that I picked up, they're wild blueberries. And it actually is not a false sales thing in saying that. You can actually get wild blueberries. And what it is an older vine, it's a low vine, it's not planted for mass production. And when they do research on these wild blueberries actually contain more antioxidants and more nutrients. And those were pretty reasonable. Actually, the frozen fruit was cheaper than the fresh fruit. This little container of blueberries was $3.99. And so when you costed it out price per serving, the frozen fruit was better. I like using the frozen fruit to make the smoothie and then maybe top it with fresh fruit. The other thing too with the smoothies that I like to do is maybe sometimes add in some flax seeds, or you can kind of, if you wanted to add more protein into it. Now the other one that we're gonna make with almond butter, and that's gonna bring in some protein. But you've got protein in this vanilla yogurt. So this one that we're gonna make right now is 8 grams of protein. So that's good, and that's coming from the yogurt. All right, so we're gonna start with the blackberries. And so it's equal. It's 1 cup of blackberries to 1 cup of yogurt. So the berries are still frozen, and you might end up getting some juice in there too. So these are easy enough, they're quick enough that you can make them. I know my kids always want me to buy them these. So this is a naked variety. It's 320 calories. So that's the one thing you have to watch out for. If you're going to drink the whole thing, you're basically almost replacing a meal. The blackberry one that we're getting ready to make with the yogurt comes in a little bit less. It's like 270 calories. But I would use this as a meal, as part of a meal, because you're pulling in a lot of calories. But you're getting your fruit, and you're getting your calcium, and you are getting some protein. I'll just pour this in. And then if we wanted to, we can add in some ice to make it a little bit colder, but let's try and make one just straight. Do you all drink smoothies a lot? No. I don't drink them a lot. I mean, every now and then I will.
Tried to make one with oranges and the pulp was.
Oh yeah. Have I not taught you how to surround an orange? It's how you take out all the membrane. What you could do is you could buy canned mandarin oranges, and that doesn't have that membrane.
Oh, okay.
So the classical cut is called a surround. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'll pour you each a little bit of this one, and then we'll make the other one. It's pretty thick. What we might do is just roll in some the yogurt. So the next one, actually we're getting in vegetables. We're going to add some spinach. There you go. And I can make you one without a banana.
Okay.
We'll make one the real way. Okay, so this next one's spinach. Do you all buy spinach in a bag? How do you buy it? Okay. The one thing you really need to be careful with is a lot of people think because it's in that bag that you don't need to wash it. You do need to wash it. How many times have you gone to the store and seen recalls? Yeah. So there is a funny bug called listeria, and it loves cold vegetables. So it's really important that you wash the vegetables. These are inexpensive, but you still need to wash them. Don't wash them until you get ready to use them, because the minute you start washing them, they start to deteriorate and they get really slimy. So I just picked this up and then just wash it as go. So I went ahead and washed this one. So this is 1 cup of fresh spinach, and you really want to, especially if you're cooking it, you want to kind of just pack it in. And we're going to use soy milk. If you don't want to use soy milk and you just have regular milk, that's fine. You don't have to. We just made it with this. And that's a 1/2 cup of soy milk. And then we're going to add 1 whole banana. What you can do, again, if you don't want to use ice, is you can freeze the banana. I'm not real crazy because they get all funky in color. So I usually just do the bananas fresh, and then I'll come in with a little bit of ice. And then we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of almond butter. And I messed up. I'll wash this out really good. If you don't have almond butter, we're giving you some to try this, but if you eat it and you're like, I don't know, you can always sell peanut butter. But calorically, this one's a lot more calories. This one isn't as much as this one, but it's more like 280 calories. So again, I would definitely do this as a meal replacement for kind of one of your bigger snacks. Okay, and then this one gets the blueberries, and we're gonna add the blueberries, the wild ones. And I want to show you. Let's put these out. They're little. See how little they are? Now these are supersized blueberries. These are big blueberries. But you see how tiny they are? So it's a different bush. It's a lower bush, but they're darker. I think they're neat. And those are actually just frozen. So, and then we'll do this one. So what you might have to do with this one is give it a shake to get it to go down. And don't do what I do, have it running and cook this down, because then you're really going to wear it. But what you'll find with this one is you're like, oh, I just don't think I want to drink spinach. Really, the spinach disappears. If you want to keep this one dairy free, what you could do is use a juice. But just remember, fruit juices are high in calories. So that would be my only suggestion if you're going to add fruit. Do you like that, or is it too thick?
That's good. It's a little thick, but
yeah. Try this one, it'll be like some more spinach. I think it's good. All right, so any questions? This was quick cooking today because we're doing these.
oh, this is good.
You like that one better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll make you one.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
All right, so do you think that you would make these?
I would make this one.
Yeah, yeah. That is sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has like a chocolate. Almost tastes like chocolate.
Chalky?
Chocolate.
Oh, chocolate. Yeah. Well, what you could do is add in more yogurt, or you could add some ice cubes to that one.
Yeah.
And actually, you could do spinach in that one too. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll pour you some soup, and I'll make you another one of these too. Okay.
Now, are the frozen, these little blueberries, are they better for you than the other ones?
Yes, they are. Actually, I mean, there's data that supports.
Okay.
Just that they have a higher level of antioxidants.
Okay.
And that's why I always get really concerned with labeling, because there's so many labels that are not, if something says fresh, well, that means nothing. So, if it is labeled organic, 100% organic, that is regulated. But the word fresh, the word health, that's not, and that's why you think sometimes when you see this wild blueberries, people are like, well, that's a joke. Well, it's not actually. They really are. It's a different bush
Okay.
that it's coming from.